Now, I don't know if it was their intent to kill him, but allegedly they did. They got him into custody, threatened the people who saw them take him into custody. And so, once he got into custody, remember now, he was in custody. And remember, it was reported that a young man acknowledged, and I think it was in the newspapers, that he saw Marvin Pratt in police custody, but he didn't look good. He looked worse for wear. He looked like he'd been through a lot because they was beating Marvin Pratt mercilessly while he was in their custody. Marvin Pratt saw something. Marvin Pratt probably had a way to prove what he saw. And the police were determined to get him, to get rid of whatever evidence he had, or get rid of whatever information he had, by any means necessary, even if it meant beating him to death. And so Marvin suffered at their hands, allegedly. Sylvester Patea is talking this story, and he talked about how Marvin was in their custody, and he talked about how even senior officers were involved in this incident with Marvin, because Marvin saw something that he should not have seen. Marvin saw police either conducting a drug deal or killing someone or doing something that they should not have been doing. And he had some way of proving it, so that's why they couldn't just kill him, and they kept harassing him. So they kept harassing him until they could kill him if they couldn't get rid of the evidence. Because even if they got rid of the evidence, I still think they would have killed him anyway. No matter what the case, because they knew that he was aware of whatever they did, it did not matter what he did, whether he gave up the information or didn't release it or released it, but it did not matter what he did, they were going to kill him anyway, because these guys are cruel. And Sylvan says they beat him. It's a long time ago, Salaj. Said they beat him and they beat him until they beat him to death. Now, there are different versions. And one version they say they beat him to death and then they got rid of his remains, either burying them or burning them. And another version, they beat him to death and they threw his remains in a shallow area along Carmichael Road. Now, they very well could have fixed it and go back there and pretend like they find the deceased body and make sure never identify that it was him, because they were seen with him in their custody, and so they could have one deceased body sent somewhere that they buried that may very well be Marvin Pratt, because was to stop them from pretending as if they found a deceased body and they don't know who it is, and they trying to do their investigations, and then they let that investigation die and we're not aware of it. What's to stop them? There's nothing to stop them, because the police themselves. They investigate themselves. They question themselves. And they answer to no one other than the politicians who use them for their bidding. And that's a sad situation. It's an unfortunate situation, but that's the state that we are in our country. But whatever the case, as far as the Bahamas and the world is aware, Marvin Pratt is not here. He's not alive. He's dead. And it's very likely that he's dead at the hands of the police. And, yeah, as Bahamas, you're correct, we do have some good police officers. But unfortunately, we have too many good officers who are indulging bad officers and bad behavior. And they can't speak up because they're afraid.